Welcome to WROL Comic Book Chat. And with me, I have the one, the only Digidax.
What's up, fanboys?
Also have Boomstam.
Hi, guys.
And Hawkeye.
Hello, everybody.
So, guys, we wanted to, obviously, there's a lot to talk about. You know, it's been a few weeks since our last recording. But we wanted to make sure that, you know, we talk through some of the things that are happening out there, latest and greatest things, not just in DC comic books, but really in the whole DCU and everything that kind of flows into that. And so I know Hawkeye put together an agenda. So pass it over to him and let him kind of run with everything.
All right. So just so everybody knows, we're going to get started here. We haven't really titled it anything, but it's going to be a book talk. It's just going to be where we're talking about whatever books have came out in the time span between episodes. This episode and the previous episode might come out together, pretty close together, even though they were recorded 2 weeks apart. But there was a 2-week gap here between this episode and the last episode. So we definitely have plenty of books to talk about. I think that the biggest book to come out this time was the launch of the new Superboy series. This won the round robin competition last year, where DC put 64 different pitches, I believe. I think it was 64 anyway. And they were all voted on by fans, and fans got to decide which book DC was going to publish. And me personally, I felt like this wasn't one of the more interesting ones. I think that the S on his chest definitely played a part in how it made it to the finals and eventually won. But what did you guys think of this issue?
I thought it was it wasn't super great for me. I mean, I didn't like how it started. You know, they kind of started it with Superboy kind of being redundant in the super family, you know, where it wasn't really needed. It always, every time he got to a emergency situation, they had it handled or they had it already resolved. So he kind of went to search for more global issues, and all the other super teams had that handled too. So he went looking for emergencies in space. So I didn't really like how that started. I mean, I really feel that like he should be part of the super family, and they should be, you know, being including for everyone. So the start didn't feel great to me, but I do feel that the comic book has potential, especially with the new supervillains they are going to be bringing out, or the team that he's going to be fighting. And I liked how his character was put down. You know, he was a little bit more rough around the edges, a little bit more abrasive, I think. You know, kind of like when he was when he first appeared. You know, a bit of a how do you call it?
Rebel?
Yeah, a little bit of a rebel. Yeah, thanks.
Well, what about this, Boomy? I know you said you didn't like the beginning, but I know you liked the getting the feels part. And when he said the best two people, you know, he needs to talk, and the best two people, and it was Ma and Paul Kent, that didn't get you a little bit?
Yeah, it did. It did. I mean, we know this Superboy is the same Superboy throughout all the comic books. So when he first appeared with the Death of Superman story, till he became the one that you know from the Titans, you know, with the black T-shirt and the red S on it. It's all the same character, and yeah, and we know he was raised by Ma and Pa Kent, and that he was forgotten by just about everyone except by maybe Pa and Ma Kent, because they actually sort of brought him back. So yeah, that got to me a little bit, but yeah, I just didn't like the part where the rest of the Superman family made him, you know, feel like he didn't fit in.
Outsider. Yeah, he was like one of the outsiders.
Yeah. So, and it especially because in the other Superman books, in Action Comics and in Superman, he really is part of the family. He helps babysit the twins and everything. So, that feels like a bit of a contrast to me. It has potential.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it's just due to, DC having, a lot of the same writers now, or what, but, I'm starting to see like similar things. Like when I'm reading that book, like all I kept feeling was like the Power Girl sections of like, oh, I don't belong here. I'm not a part of the family. And I'm just like, man, I just feel like we keep having where like things are kind of like becoming like redundant. Like, hey, guess what? Instead of just one parasite, we're going to have millions of them. Instead of just one Metallo, we're going to have a ton of them. Superboy, is a little bit of an outsider, but, even though he's been around longer than almost everybody, he's going to have this problem with that. Same thing with Power Girl. They're going to have this problem with where they feel like they're outsiders, and there's this, strife between the family. But then, like you said, I mean, like in the other Superman comic books, he's sitting there doing this and having, this relationship with everybody. But then in his own comic book, it seems like he's not. And that he's, again, just this outsider and, doesn't have a place. And so, overall, I like it. It looks like we kind of are getting a new little super team, new big bad, that's kind of going out there as well with, the Dominators and, their cloning and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely kind of interested to see, where it goes, but, hopefully, goes a little further than just, I'm an outsider I'm yet another Kryptonian that's on the outside of the super family.
At the end, we saw the name of the bad guy team, or at least we think it's a bad guy team, and it's called the Cometeers. And it made me think of this. He's also been a bit of a outsider. He also had a Comet part of his name, like Dr. Comet or something Comet. He was Captain also Comet. Captain Comet. Thank you. Do you think there's any relation to that?
Well, it's the Cosmoteers, not the Cometeers. Right. I do not think it's going to end up being related.
I think they're actually going to be a good team, just a team that is fine with killing people to get their way. But I think they're going to end up being like an anti-hero type team.
Kind of like the Elite.
Yeah, and he'll have to show his morality. That's probably going to be the dichotomy there.
Well, to touch on a couple things you guys said, I do think that there's enough of a difference between what they're doing with Connor and what they're doing with Power Girl. I think Connor is more, he needs space, where Kara is more, or Paige, I guess it is, because she's not Kara anymore. She just doesn't feel like she belongs. I feel like Connor's more of he needs room to be his own person rather than not completely feeling like he doesn't belong to the family, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And then as far as this, the Cosmoteers go, I think it might end up being something where, Superboy ends up showing him their failings, and maybe he kind of goes off and does his own thing with them. Maybe that could be where they're taking it.
Would be cool. Yeah. I hope so.
All right. Let's see. What else did we have come out this week, guys?
Yeah, we have the end of Deceased.
Yeah, I thought we'd kind of set that apart for the very end, since we definitely want to take a bunch of time to talk that out, because it's kind of the end of the whole universe almost.
We could go to Flash 797.
Sure.
Every time we talk about Flash, it makes me sad, I gotta say. I'm going to be so sad to see this run end. Even this issue here, they started setting up some things with like the Super Kids team that they're Maxine, Jay, and Irie, and then John and Robin showing up in this issue. Damian starting to form a new kind of Young Justice Corps there. I thought that was really awesome. I loved seeing the different group of villains that they brought about that were there to have their vengeance. Really just probably one of my favorite runs going right now, and I'm going to be sad to see it come to an end. Is ultimately how I feel. What about you, Boom?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I really like this run that they had. I really feel like both the writer and the artist really captures all the Flashes really well. You know how they are and how their personalities work. I thought it was awesome to see the younger versions of John and Damian as the Super Sons in this book. So yeah, like you said, I really like the family feel that you get from the Flash family with the barbecuing at the start of the Minute War and at the end of the Minute War, and now they also had this this dynamic where Ace, or the New 52 Wally, if you will, he was called up to get to babysit the twins, and they get on all sort of mischief. I really like that. It felt playful and sort of innocent. So yeah, I'm gonna really miss that if they change that up too much.
Well, I'm assuming their plan is for Barry to take over this book, when the new writer comes in, and Wally to be shifted to the Titans. That's how I foresee.
That makes sense, and I'd be okay with that. But I do hope that they, keep the family dynamic, if you will.
Well, what about the ending there? Spoiler alert: Granny Goodness shows up.
Yeah, she could get into a lot of trouble now with that wishing ball, or whatever you want to call it, that teleportation device. That could be interesting.
What about you, Berger? What you think about this issue?
I didn't read that one.
Darn. I know you've been a big fan of what they've been doing in Flash, so definitely thought you would have had that at the top of your pile. See, let's hold off on talking about Nightwing any, just because that's kind of coming to the end of an arc here soon.
Well, the good news, though, for that, Jeremy Adams, and we all enjoyed his run, is going to Green Lantern. Hopefully he brings Hal and Guy and John, and, we get that kind of camaraderie that we've been missing with Green Lantern the past couple of years.
Well, I'm glad we are getting a Green Lantern book again. I really missed that.
Yeah, me too. It's one of my favorite books to read.
I did like the Grant Morrison run. The season 1, season 2 thing what he did, but at the same time it was a little bit too weird, too crazy, too.
Grant Morrison.
Yeah, right. It was hard to follow for me.
What? Grant Morrison doing something weird? That's kind of crazy.
I know, right?
What did you guys think about this month's issue of Superman?
Oh, don't get me started.
Go ahead and kick it off then, Boom Sam.
Oh man, I love the Superman book. I really, really do. I mean, it was commented on earlier that we had, Berger said it, where we had like 1 million parasites, but I thought it was kind of creative. I thought it was something new. They're bringing back the old villains that he had and kind of putting a twist on it. I'm really interested in what they're going to do with this new character. This I don't remember her name, but the cowboy with the moonlight. She seems like a good guy. She helped Superman with the boost of
Marilyn Moonlight. It's
Thank
Marilyn
you. Yeah, she helped him with a boost of sunlight, I think. And what I really like in this book is the weird twist, but also the for example, at the end, it's Lex who saves Parasite. Where Superman has this idea to turn on the power on the LexCorp building or the SuperCorp building to draw all the parasites out of his body and draw all the parasites out of the city to one big energy source. And he convinces the original parasite to absorb all his clones, if you will. But it's in the end, it's Lex Luthor who puts the cure thingy in him. It's actually Lex who saves the day. So I thought that was a pretty cool twist. And what I like about the Superman books is that in every issue so far, we had this little moment where you see the family just acting like a family, like having the kids brush their teeth, putting them to bed, and having small family interactions. And at the end of this book, we see Lois and Clark dancing in the living room, and the kids being kind of grossed out by it, and they're like, get a room. That sort of reaction. I thought that was really, it was very relatable, I think.
Yeah, one thing I really want to mention about this book in particular is just the artwork is just unbelievably good.
It is, yes, it is beautiful.
Jamal Campbell, he's an artist I'd never seen before. I think you told me he was doing Naomi before this.
Yeah, he did.
He was just meant to draw a Superman book. A couple of moments in particular was just that scene where Lois and Clark are dancing in the living room and the sunlight's coming through the window. Just completely perfect imagery there for Superman and Lois. And then after Superman gives Lex the watch, him flying away the way that he did, he kind of shows the speed that Superman's flying at.
Yeah, with the red blur. Yeah, I love that too.
Oh, and the looks back and forth, they're kind of like, you're a smart ass. I don't trust you. And then they, I thought it was very well conveyed in that artwork.
Did you get a chance to get to this one yet, Burger?
Yeah, I did. And I do think, I think it's been a little repetitive on like what they're doing with everybody so far. I do think that, kind of ramping up some of his, kind of like original like villains, and we've seen like Superman's powers get ramped recently, right? And so now having a lot of these guys having their powers ramp, I think that'll be interesting. The two what looks like big bads, Graft and Dr. Farm, and kind of how they seem to be going after the two, how Superman kind of starts to embrace, or maybe embrace is the wrong thing, at least accept, Lex's help. And then, you see Supercorp kind of get kicked off, right? And so it'll be interesting to see what, him having all of those extra resources, what that kind of allows for. But yeah, I think, I hate a little bit of some of where it seems like it's kind of all duplicate and like, hey, we just need to do more and more of this. But it'll be interesting, I think, to see what happens this week with Silver Banshee, or on the next comic with Silver Banshee, and kind of where they're going with that.
I just have one last question about it. Did you guys have a small smile or a little grimace when you saw how they explained Clark Kent's absence? Where they explained he had cramps and he was in the bathroom again. Did it make you smile a little, make you chuckle a little, or did you guys thought it was, oh, this is so cheesy, this is bad, please don't do that again? I thought it was funny.
I love my Superman cheesy, so.
Oh yeah, turn up the cheese. I loved it.
Cool.
Well, I mean, I don't want him Shazam 80s cheesy, but
No, this is just the right amount, and it's just a little moment, and it made me smile.
Wonder Woman wasn't bad.
Yeah, the tie-in. So this was the tie-in to the Revenge of the Gods, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking we would save that for next week because it's got the final issue coming out on Tuesday. Yeah, so I figured we'd save that for next episode. I was going to see if there's any other books you guys wanted to touch on before we kind of did a little bit of a deep dive into the DC's universe as a send-off to that long-running Elseworlds book. But was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about in particular this week?
Well, I just wanted to ask if you guys read Catwoman by any chance, and what you guys thought of it. The new developments we have with Catwoman.
I have not been.
Yeah, I have not either.
I have it in front of me. I could read it right now, but I don't think we have the time.
No, I don't think so.
Story time with Digidax. You're going to read it to everybody?
If we had the visual component, maybe that would work.
No, I want to hear him do all the voices and stuff.
Okay. I'm game. All right, Digi.
Hey, Selena.
Perfect.
All right. So we're going to save Digidex from himself here because he would definitely do it. What did you guys think?
Damn right I will.
Anything for the content, right, Ben? What did you guys think of the Deceased wrap-up? Did you guys like the send-off for the universe? Do you think that it had a satisfying conclusion, unsatisfying conclusion? Do you think more is going to come from it? And what were some of your guys' favorite moments? Digi, do you want to touch on this first?
Oh, yeah. Two things. I don't think you could have sent it off better. And Damian Wayne's dead, so that's two positives for me. I mean, with Alfred. I mean, seeing Alfred as the Spectre and doing his inner monologue, I mean, it was amazing. It was an amazing end.
So I have this feeling in the back of my head that something's going to come out of it in the future, and that we'll see this again. I think it's interesting. You look at kind of, and it alluded to in the last book a little bit, kind of where everything started. Kind of went back and showed, Green Arrow, telling Damian like, hey, you're going to be the one that kind of fixes this right and sets it right. And so, it kind of flashes back to that. And so I think it did a good job sending it off. I was happy with it. Sometimes with some of the books, the big storylines lately, like it's easy to walk away being like, man, it kind of let me down. I think this they did a really good job kind of having like a really big battle, and unlikely people coming together. You have Darkseid and Ares and Black Racer and all these like, big bads that, are sitting there saying, hey, we're going to step up. And in some cases sacrifice ourselves, for what's ultimately the greater good. But, when I look at this, and even though all of the heroes and villains and everybody in like the entire universe really has been decimated at this point by a lot of this, just look at how stacked this universe is after this. Like, where else do you really see, the Kandor Kryptonians brought back to normal size, living on Earth under a yellow sun? You have Black Canary as a Green Lantern, Alfred as the Spectre.
And I guarantee you see that again. He will show up somewhere at some time. The Spectre Alfred will.
Oh yeah, and Brainiac, Cyborg, like they have some really, really like powerful heroes there that I think would be kind of cool to continue to see. Just kind of how they mixed and matched and brought everything. But then at the same time, you still have Green Arrow just sitting there shooting his bow and arrow, and that's it. Everybody else has got strength updates and upgrades, and he's just sitting there shooting his bow and arrow. But regardless, I was very happy with it. Loved the way it went. I do think we're going to see it at some other point. I liked like the last frame really where it kind of shows like the universe is kind of shaped like a bat signal. And Alfred's overlooking it as a Spectre. So I really, really thought that, and it wouldn't surprise me if we end up seeing Damian Wayne come back at some point, as like a higher level being or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I was unbelievably satisfied with it. I love the white Batman suit that Damian had. You also have Darkseid as a Yellow Lantern in this. That was probably one of my favorite things from the whole entire Deceased universe.
What I liked about this story was, they turned Darkseid into a raging undead beast, and then they cured him. And what I liked about it wasn't, we need you, Darkseid, to help save the universe, and you're a part of it, so you better help us. But it was more like they embarrassed Darkseid. He was so enraged by it, and that's why he teamed up with the other heroes, and he was really chomping at the bit to kick this Erebus or whatever the bad guy's name was, the guy behind the anti-life equation. So I thought that was really, it was an original way of including Darkseid into the pool of heroes and having him join the fight. I thought that was pretty cool. And like you guys said, I agree with everything you guys said. I really like the way how they wrap this up. I do hope that they keep it finished like this and maybe bring it back in the main universe, just like they did with the Injustice universe that just popped into the John Kent Superman book. I hope they do something like that and not start the whole DC lineup again. I hope they just close it by this.
I absolutely forgot about this. I was just flipping back through it on my phone as we were going over it. But I love Damian telling Ollie, it ended exactly how you told me it would that day. When Ollie was telling Bruce, you don't die to this. You die fighting some evil that's older than the stars. And Damian remembered that in his kind of final moments there. I thought that was a really nice moment.
Yeah.
What about throughout all of Deceased? What were some moments that you guys absolutely loved? What were some deaths that really hit you hard? Just anything like that jumps out from it.
What I really liked was I liked the way they handled the death of Superman at the hands of the Flash in the original Deceased movie, where they described it as the what's it called, the immovable object meeting the what's the saying?
Unstoppable force.
Yeah, it's unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. I thought that was pretty descriptive.
I like seeing Mr. Mxyzptlk as a crackhead. That turned out pretty well.
Yeah, that was nuts.
What?
Superman having to put down Paul Kent was definitely a moment that stung a bit, I felt like. Just any time that, a character had to put down one of their loved ones, I thought was always a particularly strong moment throughout the series. I think they did it just enough throughout where it wasn't, overplayed.
Well, watching Alfred transform the last issue was, that was overwhelming. Just watching that happen to Alfred, seeing him lose his cool like that was pretty insane.
Yeah, but also, Alfred having to kill his sons, Batman and Nightwing and Red Hood, and I think Tim. That was pretty harrowing. But then later they revealed, they could have been saved. They had the cure later, and you saw his reaction to that. He was like, damn, I could have saved him after all. I didn't have to shoot him.
I know I would have been like, I killed all the Robins and I let Damian Wayne live. I'm like, really?
You really have it in for the poor boy.
Oh no, I'm coming around on him.
I think there was a lot that kind of meaningful. I wouldn't have guessed that Batman would have been one of the first ones down, right? I wouldn't have guessed, that Alfred would have to put all of them down after that, which those were both pretty shocking. You have, who was it? Oh, the Flash, whenever, Superman got infected, right? Flash gets, I think it was Martian Manhunter that got him. And then all of a sudden he starts just running around the world, just infecting everybody and wiping out everybody, huge amounts of the population. And so Superman goes and collides with him, gets stabbed by the bone, had his, even though we know later he comes back, but he was able to basically, move at, faster speeds and being able to talk to everybody real quick before he kind of flew up, and kind of turned. And so, I think there was a lot of kind of really, things that kind of hit you hard, in the moment. But then some of them, when you look back, you're just like, man, that didn't really have to happen. They could have saved them. But
the fortunate thing is, just like with all these books, it's not a universe that we have to care about anymore. It's gone.
You're rough.
What isn't it?
Well, I'm just saying this is what Earth 59 and a half.
I think it's like 55, yeah. Or 55. I think we're going to hear from it again.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I hope so.
If not, Boom Sam's at least going to be writing fan fiction on it. So everybody tune into that.
As long as we see Connor in the Power Girl costume with Boomy writing the fan fiction, I'm all in.
I'll do my best. You'll do the artwork, right?
Oh, yeah, you're damn right. It'll look like stick figures, but, I mean, I'll do it.
It's a deal. So, any other books you guys wanted to talk about?
No, I think I'm good. I think next up on the list, we had Dawn of DC and then Night Terrors. Kind of previews that we've kind of seen from it.
Yeah, in our document here, guys, I threw up all of the books from Dawn of DC that are going to be coming up and launching, actually starting this week with Green Arrow #1. Just wanted to kind of get your guys' thoughts. What are you most excited about? What books maybe aren't really on your radar?
I'm all in on Green Arrow 1, like the whole Green Arrow. I mean, seeing Roy back, I'm all in on it. Every advertisement in the books that we've been reading is, they're showing the Green Arrow, and I'm actually excited for this book.
Yeah, me too. But for me, it's steel work. It's something very different. It's something that hasn't really been done before. I mean, we have Steel, but he's usually been a support character or something along those lines. I don't think he himself had a book, but not the organization or the company that he has. So I think it's going to be interesting to see him and Natasha getting their own sort of book. I think that's going to be interesting. And like I said before, Green Lantern. I'm glad Green Lantern's coming back.
Steel was probably the one book on that list that I expected nobody to really want to talk about. I should have known better because we have Boom here, aka the world's #1 Superman fan.
Thank you.
Me personally, I'm looking forward most to the Titans book. Tom Taylor, for me, for the last few years, as far as DC goes, has been probably the most consistent writer they have. Dating back to Injustice, his time on Nightwing, his Superman, John Kent series is off to a great start. I can't remember if he wrote everything in DC or if he did. There were some spinoffs he didn't do, but for DC's. But that was, from beginning to end was an unbelievable run. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for this. It's going to be building kind of off of what he's been doing in Nightwing. So there's, to me, no better answer than that as far as what book to be looking forward to the most from this bunch. What about you, Berger?
I think Green Lantern. I mean, that's like I'll usually lean into those as much as possible, after Superman. So I think Green Lantern, I'll be excited to see kind of what they do with that. I know we kind of mentioned it earlier. I wasn't a big fan of like the last one. It kind of just got really weird and kind of really out there. And so hopefully this one kind of brings it a little bit, back down, maybe back down to earth isn't the right way to say it, since Green Lantern is Space Corps. But that, and then I agree with you. I think Titans, I've enjoyed reading some of those lately. And so looking forward to checking that out as well.
Well, good news for you. They are having a Green Lantern Hal Jordan book and a John Stewart. And the Hal Jordan book is the one that he's supposed to be getting back to his roots. So I think that he will be on Earth most of the time.
John Stewart book already started?
No, that starts later this year. Yeah, that starts later. The Hal Jordan book is going to start first.
Which I believe the John Stewart book is actually going to start as a backup strip in the Hal Jordan book.
Do we already have John Stewart Emerald Knight or something, or is that something differently?
That is something different.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that predates the Dawn of DC headline of books. What about on that list are you guys maybe not looking forward to as much? Is there anything that jumps out as probably a skip for you, or
the
just
Penguin
in general aren't that excited for?
The Penguin. Yeah, I don't know if I'm really looking forward to seeing Penguin.
He should be a speedster, right? Isn't he a new speedster?
He should be, actually, yeah, if they base off DCL.
Normally, I would agree with you, but for me, Tom King is,
he's good.
Just, lights out. And I also think that him writing a kind of down and dirty Penguin book really plays to his strengths as well.
Oh, I love Tom King. If you haven't read his run on Mr. Miracle, I mean, you should. It's pretty amazing.
Great. Yes.
The only thing I can say against Tom King is I feel like he reads better as a trade than as individual issues, because he just tends to write in such a dense manner. It just takes a lot of examination, and in having months in between issues really kills the momentum that he builds within his books. So that's one thing that kind of worries me here is he does have 3 different books that are going to be monthly books. I just worry that, some of his talent's going to get lost in the wash, so to speak.
You know what I do, Hawkeye? I just skim through the previous issue a little bit before I read the next one. That sort of helps. But I get what you're saying, and I kind of agree with you.
And not to mention, I believe he is on the round table for James Gunn, correct?
Yeah, he is.
Yes, James Gunn actually says that he's been going to him for notes on Superman Legacy.
Yeah, and I also think he's, because he's the writer of the Supergirl movie, book, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. So I'm guessing he'll be a consultant or something on that too. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm sure he's kind of in the brain trust of DC folks that James Gunn is using. So I'm sure, especially with him being the writer of said book, that he will be the kind of the go-to for that. As far as other books, like I'm a big Hawk Person fan. I'm not familiar with any of the talent they have on Hawk Girl, so I wouldn't say that I'm not excited because obviously it's a Hawk Girl book, but I do not recognize the talent, so I'm a little bit leery, and we'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I was wondering when you were going to bring it up. I was surprised you didn't bring it up earlier, but yeah, I don't know the team as well. I mean, the names don't ring a bell. For me, the one I'm going to read everything that's going to come out, but the one that I'm probably least excited about is Cyborg, not because of the character, but because of the previous standalone books that they had that didn't really feel that great to me. So yeah, maybe this will turn around, but
I can definitely agree with that. I mean, Cyborg's had probably 3 or 4 shots at solo books over the last decade or so since basically New 52. And I don't think that he's had a home run of a book anywhere along the lines.
Well, if you think about it, they never really give him the side characters that are just like his family characters to be there with him, besides the Titans and League.
That's true.
He definitely lacks a supporting cast. And we'll have to see. I know that the writer of that book, Morgan Hampton, I believe he wrote the Static miniseries that's been ongoing. I haven't read that, but I have heard good things.
I've read it. I mean, it's not anything special, but it's not bad. I mean, it's enjoyable. One last one that I'll say I'm looking forward to, and I'm normally not a big Shazam guy, but Mark Waid is going to be writing it, so I'm definitely interested in it.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Waid, it's hard to pass up a book that he writes. I think we've covered pretty much all the books there, all various different levels. We've talked a bit about Flash, how all of us are not majorly excited for it just because we're losing that Jeremy Adams run. But I am excited to see what they do with that series. But moving on, let's just spend a little bit of time talking about Night Terrors, DC's event that's going to be coming up for some odd reason during the middle of the summer instead of them saving it till October. With the nature of the event, it seems like that would have been a better fit for it. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Have you guys done much research into what's going to be going on? Go ahead and feel free to tell me your thoughts on it, guys.
Yeah, so I've looked at it a little bit. I've checked out some of the cover variants that have been kind of published in different places. Overall, like, I do like some of the stuff. Like, it seems like Dead Man will be really big into it. It seems like Sandman's on there. But again, like, it kind of falls back to where this is like, it's going to turn into like another Batman storyline. I mean, it's Night with a K. So like Dark Knight, so Night Terror. So it seems like yet again, it's going to be like another thing where it's like Batman kind of centered. We had, Dark Knight's Metal, like these big crossovers and everything that kind of seems to center on him, which I don't think is bad. I mean, obviously, I like him as a character, but it just is like, man, like Batman is, just a man with, a bunch of, I mean, he obviously has a ton of skills, but, spanning the multiverse and, now basically like whenever you read like what this is about, it's like, like kind of going past the land of the living, past the land of the dead, into like this new villain. So they're launching a new villain. I think his name was Insomnia, into his lair. But like outside of that aspect of it, I did see some funny things that kind of out there. Like it takes everybody and says, hey, what's your worst nightmare? And so like I saw one that had like Joker working in like an office building, like 9 to 5 type thing. So I thought that was pretty funny. And so I'm interested to see where it goes. And again, I really like that we're going to see more Sandman. I like that we're going to see more Dead Man. But yeah, that's kind of the initial for me kind of reading it and kind of looking at some of the variants and stuff.
I've already fought the villain, Insomnia, usually weekly, so
you've already conquered him.
No, he comes back.
What about you guys?
The one thing I would say that I'm not terribly excited about is the fact that these books are going to kind of replace the main line for the 2 months that they run. I think that this is kind of an attempt to give some of these writers that are writing 2 and 3 and 4 books for DC right now some room to breathe. But I do also feel that it kind of kills a lot of the momentum that these books may be trying to build up.
Yeah, I agree. And it does feel like we are getting event after event after event. So, I would like to have the main books a little bit more leeway, a bit more of a run before we head into the next big event. But, we'll see.
Right. Well, I think we'll get to dive more into Night Terrors, obviously, as the books are released. And as we get more info over the next couple months, I think we'll start seeing more of a big picture on that. So let's go ahead and move on to your guys' homework from the last episode.
Oh, God. My dog ate it.
I told you guys I wanted you to pair up a director in either a already announced movie, or if you wanted to do an unannounced movie, you could do that. Why don't we start off with Boom Stam? Boom, what do you got for us?
I went with Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I mean, we know that's been announced. I don't think they have a director coupled to that movie yet. But I went for Gina Pryce Bythewood. She's the director of the movie The Old Guard and recently released movie The Woman King.
Wow, you went classy there. All right.
Thank you.
So what was it about her that made you feel like she'd be a good fit for the character in the story?
Well, I really wanted a female director for the Supergirl movie because I think she would, that it would make a better fit. And at first I thought about the director of Wonder Woman, but then I felt it was a little bit on the nose, and I went looking, and I found her, and I saw she did Old Guard, and I really liked that movie, so figured I would like to see where she would go with that that movie with that script. So that was basically my reasoning behind it.
I definitely like the pairing. What about you, Berger? What did you have for us?
So, I wanted to do one that's like not necessarily, or at least that I haven't seen anywhere on the bubble, and so I wanted to do something that we haven't really seen like a lot in DC yet, which would be like Justice League Dark, kind of bring in more of like the magic side of it. And then when I was kind of thinking through it, I was like, man, like what's the movies I've liked that've kind of been, at times, be able to be funny, have action. And so, I decided to go with Louis Leterrier. I'm sorry if you're listening, Louis, if I butchered your last name. But, he did Clash of the Titans, Now You See Me, those movies. So, had some magic with it on there. He also did Incredible Hulk prior, which I didn't want to necessarily hold that totally against him. I think a lot of that was more of like studio driven, because I know even like, Edward Norton, was upset, by some of the direction they were getting from like the studio on everything. But
Edward Norton woke up and he was like, I'm in a Marvel movie. Oh man.
Well, I think he wanted to like explore like the personal side of Hulk, right? But and not just, hey, raging monster running around, but actually having like, hey, this is the human behind it, this is like everything that goes with it. And so, but again, everything that I had read prior, it was kind of like the studio was just like, no, this is what we want, like we need the action, we need this. And but yeah, that's who I kind of picked. And I think it would be cool to kind of see like a Justice League Dark, and if we decided to do something, and maybe it's just because I saw the movie Ghosted the other day, but I was like, man, Zatanna being by Ana de Armas, would be kind of cool in there. But yeah, that's kind of where my homework went.
Way to bury the lead. You're getting the director from the new Fast and the Furious movie. That definitely should have came up in this discussion. So he can definitely do action. He can kind of take out, he's definitely understands kind of the sleight of hand and how to build a decent little magic movie. So I definitely
in
like
the new Fast and the Furious, are they going to raise shuttles now? I don't know what the latest one they're going to do.
I actually saw a trailer for it this morning. They are going to crash two helicopters that have harpooned Dom's car, and he makes them crash into each other.
Well, of course he does.
And they're going to drive down the side of a dam.
Wait, you guys, that doesn't happen to you every day you drive to work?
Well, yeah, it does. It happened to me that's why I was late for the podcast today.
I mean, I do live in Florida, so yes, things like that do occur.
Florida man.
All right, what about your homework here? What did you have?
Okay, you got to hear me out first, because think of Christopher Nolan when he first announced Heath Ledger. They were like, "Oh God, are you kidding us?" So, the project is, and this will only be starring in my fantasies, in my PG-13 fantasies, would be a Justice League International movie directed by Ben Affleck, and we get Max Lord as Matt Damon, Blue Beetle as Eddie Redmayne, Booster Gold, Ryan Gosling, Dr. Light, Constance Wu, and this one's kind of weird, but you're going to stay with me, Martian Manhunter as Tyler Perry, taking on a serious role, Guy Gardner as Chris Pratt, Mr. Miracle as Jensen Ackles, Black Canary as Jennifer Lawrence, and Oberon as Peter Dinklage.
What?
There's a lot to unpack right there.
The budget on that thing, I think that budget would be pretty reasonable, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm like, hey, WB, can I get like $1 billion just to start it off? Is that cool?
Yeah, I mean, being like the first movie to ever cross like $3 billion, Like, if they could do that, then there you go.
But I'll be like, hey, Affleck won the Oscar, The Town, Argo, Gone Girl. Hey, man.
I'm pretty sure the only way that movie's going to make money is if you get James Cameron to direct it and Tom Cruise to star it.
That is James Cameron could redo a crap movie from the 80s and be like, hey, just crossed the $1 billion line.
You had me up until Tyler Perry as Martian Man. That was a bridge too far.
I'm thinking outside of the box because everybody thinks Tyler Perry's going to be this, but no, he's going to be stoic, 6'5", and
No, I mean, I've seen Tyler Perry do some dramatic roles. I just don't know that I see him as John, though.
Well, see, I'd be the executive producer on there. I'd get in Ben's ass. I'd be like, hey, come on, man. Let's get stuff out of these actors here.
The other thing I would tell you is from everything that I've listened to, Ben Affleck is not getting within a mile of any superhero movie shoot, let alone being a director of one.
Well, he signed on because Matt Damon signed up for Max Lord. That's why he signed on.
I don't see Matt Damon doing it either. I got to be honest with you. I appreciate the imagination, though.
Can I just make a small comment about Burger's suggestion about Justice League Dark?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I would love that. I mean, I love the whole idea of magic, but wasn't there a Justice League Dark movie planned, and the director was supposed to be Guillermo del Toro?
Nailed it. Yes, that was something that has been in the works at various different points, but just has never moved.
Yeah, and I guess now with the gun universe, it's not going to happen. But I mean,
he would have been perfect for it.
Exactly. That's my point. He would have been. Yeah.
My only concern about it is I do not know how well Del Toro would fit into trying to build it into a universe that has other living and breathing parts of it.
Well, I mean, my concern would be, I'm not sure if Del Toro would, really get the characters. If he really knows all the characters that they're gonna that are part of the Justice League Dark universe. But I mean, all the special effects with all the magic stuff. I mean, you're gonna see hands growing out of trees, and you're gonna see some weird shit. That's all I'm saying.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind if you don't think Del Toro is going to be like a rhyming demon from hell. This is directly in his ballpark.
Have you seen Shape of Water? Oh God! I'm like, this won an Oscar. Oh.
Don't get me started on Shape of Water. One of the most uncomfortable movie-going experiences you can have in the theater.
Were you sat next to your mom?
I wasn't, thankfully.
Oh, then that would have been the most.
For my assignment, let's go ahead and bring this home. We have definitely went over our time limit for the episode just by a little bit. We're reining ourselves in as we go.
Hey, just like my budget for the movie, for my fan film, we went over budgeted.
My pick for this was The Brave and the Bold, and I wanted Chad Stahelski to come over from the John Wick movies to direct it. The one thing I don't think that we've necessarily seen in any of the Batman movies is just amazing martial arts and
500 kills a movie.
Yeah, like we haven't seen anything that's really down and dirty as far as the martial arts goes. I think Nolan relied way too much on a very, very, very unsteady cam for all of his fight scenes. I think he did great with set pieces, but I don't think as far as fighting, I don't think that he delivered what you would expect from Batman.
Bat Bale would have been killed in the first 5 seconds of that Doomsday fight in Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, he would have. To be fair, Ben Affleck should have been dead too, though. So.
But he's Ben Affleck, and he wasn't.
You're just trying to woo him right now for your director role.
Yeah, I'm saying whatever it takes. Come on.
Just want you to know Ben Affleck's not listening to this podcast.
And I'm going to go see Air this weekend. All of us are going to go see Air right now in theater.
You're coming on a little bit too strong. But no, or any other thoughts, any other ones that you guys had, maybe any honorable mentions that you guys thought of?
No, I did the minimum homework.
Kathy Bates as Granny Goodness. There we go.
Well, with your casting decisions, I was kind of expecting like Jason Momoa to be Granny Goodness. So,
I mean, sometimes you have to think outside of the box to get it to work.
Yeah, I thought that might have been a little bit too safe for you. You're right. Well, it was a great episode, guys. I really appreciate all of you guys' time. I'm going to throw it over here to Berger to send us on home.
Well, I think we have Digidex with the phrase that pays, right?
The phrase that pays comes directly from the Lego Batman movie, and that phrase is Iron Man sucks.
There we go. All right, so if you guys,
just to be clear, you have to contact me, Boomstam, on Discord, and come to me with that line, and the phrase that pays.
There you guys go. All right, so obviously another great time syncing up with you guys, being able to talk through some of these things. I know I kind of let Hawkeye down earlier. I am going to go read the Flash book. I still have World's Finest that I haven't read from this week either, so I need to do that. But
I could read Catwoman 54 to you later if you'd like.
Perfect.
Hey, wait! Make them sign up for the Patreon if they want that. They have to sign up for the Patreon.
Everybody's got to.
That's going to be the free bonus content.
Yeah, there we go. But great time getting with you guys as always, and so everybody out there listening, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys have any ideas, if you're a big fan of the show, you want to get on with us one day and kind of talk as well, let us know. Hit up Boomstam, and he's the one. If he's in every single Discord, I think, and I think there's even he even created some random other Discords where it's only him.
He's even in the New Gods server as a admin. I'm like, how the hell did you get here?
Perfect. So we have, so just hit us up. Again, we're always looking for ideas, but something we love to do, love to talk about. We've loved for, in some cases, decades, these characters. And so thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys later.